Hopefully you guys are on here. If you're not, the link is in the chat. All right, looks like I got about 20 people on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. All right, so this is the page that you should have seen when we first got on here. If you haven't done your attendance or open up your digital notebook, make sure you do so. We've got kind of a lot of slides today, so we're gonna go through them. Hopefully we get through them all because we are starting our new unit. Okay, so last week you guys did a pretest at lesson 1.1 on traits and reproduction. So we're going to move on to lesson 1.2, and we're going to be getting introduced to the spider silk research. All right, so here's our objective and our closing task. And you guys are going to be able to obtain information on the variation in spider silk flexibility. That's what we're going to be looking at today. All right, so for our warm-up, you guys always know that we do a warm-up. This kind of goes over what we're going to be doing. You'll see these pages for each activity, and then we're going to go on to this next slide to kind of go in depth on what this warm-up is going to be. All right, so I told you guys we're starting a new unit, traits and reproduction, and you guys know that we always start with a warm-up. Okay, so I'm going to post the link in the chat real quick again. All right, so we always start with a warm-up to get us thinking about these ideas. So if you are on Pear Deck, you should be able to click on this screen and go straight to your warm-up. So the directions right here say read each of the statements below. If you agree with the statement, write agree. If you disagree with the statement, write disagree. Then explain your choice for the first statement. All right? You're only explaining your choice for the first statement. So if I'm going to go and click on this screen, if you're still looking at my shared screen, you'll be able to see this. But if you went and already are on your warm-up, then that's really fine. But it should take you straight to our warm-up today. All right, so you're going to read each of these statements. There's 5 statements, okay? It says over here down in the very bottom right one, it almost looks like it's the 6th one. It says in the space below, explain why you agree or disagree with the first statement. All right, so all you're putting in here is whether you agree or you disagree. All right, so if you agree with the first statement, you put agree. If you disagree with the second statement, put disagree. But you're not explaining yourself in any of these, except for this last one. You'll explain why you agree or disagree with that very first statement. Okay, I'm going to give you guys about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, when you get done, make sure you press hand in and it will take you to the next activity. And make sure you guys are following along while we go through Amplify. It'll be a lot better so you don't have to go back and do it on your own. All right, take another minute and a half to get that finished up, and then we're going to move on to our next activity. For our homework, eventually, we're going to rotate back around to this, so you guys will see some of these statements again. All right. So if you're not done, make sure you get that finished up. You're writing whether you agree or disagree with each statement and then explaining in that last box. All right, so moving on to our second activity. Hopefully you got that warm up done. If not, you can come back to it or just keep working on it real quick if you are almost done. So for activity 2, we have a video that I'm going to show you guys, and then we're going to discuss a little bit. We're going to review our new unit question and watch the video on spider silk. And then we're going to have, I'm going to explain the role that you guys are going to embark on during this unit. Okay? Whoops. All right, so people may say you have your mother's eyes or that you look like your sister. Maybe you even have a twin. So even though you may have some traits in common, you are also very different, and even from your relatives, even from your mom and dad. All right, so in this unit, we're going to learn what determines an organism's traits and why organisms can be similar or different within a family. All right, so our unit question, we're going to answer this by, I think, the end of chapter. I think we're only doing 3 chapters. We may be doing the 4th chapter, but I'll have to look at that. All right, so our unit question says, why do traits vary, and why do they vary even between parents and offspring and among siblings? All right, so we're going to watch a video about a scientist who is researching traits in spiders. All right, she's interested in different kinds of spider silk, and so we're going to focus on these traits throughout the unit. And then after the video, we are going to discuss this question, and keep this in mind as you watch. All right, why are scientists interested in spider silk? All right, be prepared to answer this question after you watch the video. So why are scientists interested in spider silk? All right, we're gonna watch. Hopefully it will let me play this for you guys. If you're looking at my shared screen, because I'm still sharing my screen, make sure you're on that because it won't let me show this on Pear Deck. So make sure you're looking at my shared screen so we can watch this together.
There are over 40,000 described species of spiders. Each species makes at least one type of silk. Most species make multiple types of silk. So for any application you can think of, there's probably a spider silk that's just perfect for it. I'm Dr. Cheryl Hayashi. I'm a spider silk biologist. I study the properties of spider silk and the genes for silk. Spider silk has amazing properties. You can see this when you just go out and look at a spider web in nature. So imagine a spider web that's so thin it's nearly invisible. If the insect fly into the web, the insect gets the web, the web stretches and extends, and it's able to absorb the impact of that foreign insect. And this flexibility is what it actually fly. In our laboratory, what we do is first pick a web
All right, so that is a little bit on what we're going to be learning about spider silk for the next few weeks. Okay, so based on what you saw in the video, why are scientists interested in spider silk? Okay, go ahead and answer this on our Pear Deck. All right, just type out something short. Based on what you saw in the video, why are scientists interested in spider silk? So make sure you're back on the Pear Deck. All right, make sure you're responding in the Pear Deck. So why do you guys think scientists are interested in spider silk? All right, so spider silk is unique. It can be used to help humans in medical matters. It can help fix joints and muscles in the body. Used to make someone more healthy, replacing a nerve, possibly. There's many different types of spiders. Artificial tendons. There's a lot of uses. All right, spider silk is different and some of them are stronger. Others could bend more easily. Medical purposes. Right, so most of the time we know that scientists do research on, I don't want to end it, sorry. Scientists do research on animals, they do research on different stuff, and it's mostly to help us. So whether it's medically, spiritually, emotionally, that's why you guys know that's why scientists study these different kind of things. And so with spider silk, in that video we saw that it helped with medical purposes. Okay. So in this unit, we're going to participate in work that is similar to what that scientist did in the video. And so you guys are going to take on the role of the student genetic researcher at Bay Medical Company, researching spider silk and Darwin's bark spiders. All right, so we have a message here from Dr. Satari. That's who you guys saw in the video. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. I think this is the only 2 paragraphs in here. I think this is on you all should be able to see this as well on Amplify. All right, so it says, I led the spider silk research team, a group of genetic researchers. We are working on medical treatments that use silk from the Darwin's bark spider, a newly discovered spider species. These species produce very strong silk. We want to see if their silk can be used to make tendons and stitches for humans. For this to work, the silk must be both strong and flexible. A medium level of flexibility is optimum. Unfortunately, we have discovered that not all Darwin's bark spiders are the same. Some spiders, even those in the same family, make more flexible silk than others. As student researchers, you will work to explain why traits such as silk flexibility, can vary within a family of Darwin's bark spiders. All right, so eventually we want to get to this medium level of flexibility. That is what is optimum. That's what we're searching for to help out with this spider silk research, okay? So let's look at the spider family that we're going to be researching in this unit. So if you guys look at this picture on the left-hand side, you're going to observe the differences in silk flexibility traits among the spider family. And what do you guys notice? So if you're looking at this picture over here, it may be little on your page, but the male, the parent 1 male, has low silk flexibility, and the parent 2 female has medium silk flexibility. All right, these offspring A is a male with low silk flexibility. Offspring B has medium silk flexibility. Offspring C has low silk flexibility, and offspring D has high silk flexibility. So I'm going to go actually to amplify and show you this. Kind of zooms in a little bit so you can see it a bit better. I don't think you can see it on the Pear Deck very well. So if you're looking at my shared screen, you should be able to see the family tree that I'm showing you. And so in our Pear Deck, I want you to respond in there. So our Pear Deck says, observe the differences in silk flexibility traits among the spider family. What do you notice? Okay, point one thing out that you notice to me in this family tree. It can be obvious. It doesn't have to be obvious. Whatever you would like. What do you observe in this family tree? Just one thing. All right, make sure you're putting it in our Pear Deck presentation. All right, so I've only got about 8 responses. Make sure you're answering in Pear Deck. So I'll have this picture up here. Just make sure you're answering in Pear Deck. All right, let's see. Male spiders have low silk flexibility. Female spider has high. 3 of the offspring have silk flexibility traits that show their parents, but 1 does not. Neither of the parents have high silk flexibility, but the offspring D does. Males have low. They have different flexibilities. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of there's more low and medium flexibility than this high flexibility, which is the offspring D. Okay, so I'm not gonna go any further than that because we're gonna learn a little bit more about that. Keep that in the back of your mind when we see these family trees again, because I know you guys have probably dealt with family trees, and we're gonna be looking at family trees a little bit more in depth over the next few weeks. Okay, so I have some vocab terms here for you. So this is what we're going to put in our digital notebook. Okay, so if you guys go to your digital notebook, you will see a spot where you can put vocabulary. And we have our first one. So our first vocab word is feature. So feature is a characteristic that all members of a species have. All right, so the spider, they have a silk characteristic or the flexibility characteristic of their silk. Okay, so feature. Make sure you guys are going to your digital notebook. You should see vocab on the first few pages. All right, so it should be page 3. And you should be able to type in the definition for feature. All right, so feature is a characteristic that all members of a species have. All right, so trait. Trait is where we can kind of get mixed up. All right, so we have feature and trait. So trait is a specific characteristic of an individual organism. A trait is a specific characteristic of an individual organism. So if we're thinking about the offspring D in that family tree that we just looked at of those spiders, we can say that that spider has a high, flexibility, high silk flexibility, and then those other offspring have low silk flexibility or medium silk flexibility. Right? That's a specific characteristic of an individual organism. So high, low, medium flexibility, but a feature is just flexibility of silk. All right, so we got feature, which is a characteristic that all members of a species have. And then we have trait, which is a specific characteristic of an individual organism. If you guys fall behind at all, this PowerPoint is on Canvas. Okay, this PowerPoint is on Canvas if you need to go through that, if you missed something. Okay, so we have feature and trait. You guys should have those in your digital notebook. We're going to talk about them a little bit more now. All right, so you guys should know, you guys are in 8th grade, you've been working with Amplify for a little bit. There's a glossary if you need to look up vocab. All right, so this is what I was talking about with features and with traits. So eye color is a feature, okay? Hair color is a feature. Skin color is a feature. But people have different traits for eye color. People have different traits for hair color, different traits for skin color. Okay, so for example, they could have blue, brown, or green eyes as a trait, but their feature is their eye color. All right, that can get a little confusing, but make sure you know the difference. All right, body color is an example of a feature in this species of spider. Okay, so an example of a feature is body color, and then that trait could either be a yellow body color, like this one on the left, or a brown body color, like this one on the right. All right, so we got features and we've got traits. All right, so silk flexibility is also a feature, what we looked at in that family tree. And all of the Darwin's bark spiders have this feature. Some of the spiders make silk that is more flexible than other silks. So you got high, medium, and low silk flexibility as the different traits for the silk flexibility feature. Okay, so we're looking at the silk flexibility feature at the very top, and then when you go down, you have your high, medium, and low silk flexibility, which are your traits. All right, so what are some traits you have that are different from your family members? All right, so we've got features, hair color, eye color, skin tone, but what are those specific traits that you have that are different from your friends and family members? All right, is your eye color different? Is your hair color different? Is your skin tone different? Maybe you have broad shoulders. Maybe you have long legs, or maybe you're tall, right? So what are some traits that you have that are different from your friends and family members? All right, make sure you're responding in Pear Deck. All right, let's look. All right, cheekbones, green eyes, and a widow's peak. That's a good one. Your mom had really dark hair. You have dirty blonde hair. Okay, you have different eye color, hair color. You're taller than your friends. Hey, same. You have wide shoulders and don't fit in most jackets because of it. Skin tone, your hair color. You have blue eyes. Your friends have brown eyes. I'm funny. Oh, Lord. You're taller. You have different hair type and your height. All right, these are good, guys. We are going to actually do a project hopefully later on where we create our own family tree and we look at or we pick a certain feature. So we're going to be looking at that a little bit more in regards to looking at what our family has and what we have. All right, so our chapter 1 question is what we're going to be looking at the next week or so. Why do traits for silk flexibility vary within this family of Darwin's bark spiders? So you guys saw that family tree. We're going to be looking at silk flexibility and why things vary like that. So why did one of the offspring have a higher silk flexibility and the other ones had low and medium ones? Okay. So let's discuss your initial ideas about the chapter 1 question. So why do traits for silk flexibility vary within this family of Darwin's bark spiders? So why do you think that all the offspring have different flexibilities? Why are there some low? Why are there some medium? And why is there a high one? Okay, just your initial thoughts. Why do traits for silk flexibility vary within this family of Darwin's bark spiders? Right? If you're thinking about, or if you're having a hard time answering this, why do you think if you are different from your parents? So say, like my parents both have dark hair. I don't. Why is that? Or why does my dad have blue eyes, my mom have brown eyes, and I have blue eyes? Okay, so think about that when you're answering this question. And you don't have to be spot on. We're just discussing some initial ideas. All right, if you're not answering in the Pear Deck, you need to make sure you are. I'll be giving out participation points at the end of class. So if you are not answering in Pear Deck, you will not receive those. Okay, they inherit it from their parents or relatives. They have a different mix of the parents' genes. Okay. Okay, one or both of the parents have the trait of high flexibility, but it doesn't show. They have different proteins for silk flexibility. It's all genetics. All right, so we know it has something to do with genes and carrying them down from your parents. Okay. What we're going to look at next are some claims. All right, some claims that answer this question that we're eventually going to pick from. So I wanted to see what you all were thinking at first. But we have these 3 claims that we are actually not going to look at super in depth today, but I just wanted to give these to you. So our question is, why do traits for silk flexibility vary within this family of Darwin's bark spiders? All right, we're going to be picking one of these claims by the end of this chapter. Okay, so claim 1 said the offspring have mutations that affect their traits. Claim 2 says the offspring's traits depend on which parent the offspring received more traits from. Or claim 3, the offspring received different combinations of traits from their parents. Okay, so we are not picking a claim today. I just wanted to kind of expose you guys to these 3 claims that we're going to be looking at. All right. So for activity 3, we're just going to explore and look at our simulation that is going to be with us for quite a while we look at these spiders. Okay. So throughout this unit, we are going to use the simulation to help us learn more about the variation in traits of spiders. Okay, you're going to see a picture that kind of looks like this. It honestly is really neat and probably one of my favorite simulations. All right, so go ahead. You can click on this page. It'll take you straight to where you need to be in Amplify, which is on the activity 3, the simulation. We're not going to work with partners just because of time's sake, and we're on Zoom and it's a little bit harder. But go ahead and click on this page. We're going to launch the traits and reproduction simulation. I want you guys to kind of just explore. Don't worry about getting any information. I just want you to get acquainted with the simulation and know where things are. All right, so you can click on this screen and it will take you straight to that simulation. All right, while you guys are playing around with the simulation, I'm going to look at it as well. And so you can see it on my screen if yours is acting up or if it's not working. All right, so you should see 6 spiders here. You should be able to go from the silk flexibility, silk stiffness, if they have venom, bristles, their size, their body color, and their stripe color. Okay, you should be able to see that kind of stuff. All right, so what I want you to click on next, all right, what I want you to click on next, if you're looking at my screen, what we're going to be on is this random spiders not really module, but the random spiders simulation instead of selected spiders. So you should be on random spiders up at the top left. All right, so it's going to give you a bunch of these random spiders. All right, all mine look pretty different. And what I want you to look at is the silk flexibility. So for the feature, I want you to click on the silk flexibility. Okay, if you're looking at my screen, make sure you're on the same page. You should be looking at silk flexibility. Now, what I want you to do next is to click on your favorite spider. Whichever one looks cool to you, whichever one you want to look a little more at. Click on that spider. I'm going to go with the spider number 1 because he looks really neat. I'm going to click on it. All right, it's going to take me to this page. All right, what this is showing me are chromosomes in the nucleus. Okay, you don't want to change anything right now. You want to leave it like it is. But these are all the possible proteins for silk flexibility. I know these words may be a little bit confusing. We haven't really learned about proteins. We haven't learned too much about what ribosomes are, what the nucleus is. But you should be looking at a page like this. So you've got your spider over here on the left. It's telling me that it has a medium silk flexibility. And then it's showing me what's going on inside. So why it has that medium silk flexibility. Okay, we're going to be looking at this a little bit more. I just wanted to, I wanted you guys to know where this was at. Okay, so kind of just playing around with that. I'm going to go back to our Pear Deck because we've got about 15 minutes or so. And we've got a few more slides to get through, okay? So that simulation is kind of just going through what we're going to be looking at the next few weeks. All right, I'm going to skip through this page, skip through that page. And this is going to talk a little bit more about what that is, what this is showing you, okay? So the screen that I was on in Amplify, when I pressed on the spider, this is going to show you a little bit more about that. So if you're looking at my shared screen, go ahead and, or if you're not looking at it, go ahead and come back to my shared screen so that I can play this video for us. All right, so that's kind of going over just a little bit about that simulation. I already went over it just a little, but I wanted to show you guys that video if you were confused at all. Okay, so we kind of went over the random one. We're going to skip through these, and we're going to add this vocab word. Okay, so variation. I'm sure you guys may have heard this in maybe your math class or any other classes, but mostly in your math class. But a variation is any difference in traits between individual organisms. So any difference in traits between individual organisms. So an example, when we were looking at the family tree of the bark spiders, the differences were between their silks, right? Some of the offspring had um, medium silk, some of them had high silk, some of them had low silk. So that's what they're talking about when they're talking about variation. So any difference in traits between individual organisms. Right, so make sure you add that to your notebook. And that is the last definition that you will need to add to your notebook. Okay, so any difference in traits between individual organisms. All right, our last two activities. We have a regular homework that is going to come back around to our warm-up. And then we have a family homework that is going to help us kind of get a jump start on what our project is eventually going to be. So our project's probably going to be at the end of this unit, closer to when we have the test. But this is just going to get us ahead and start thinking about the project, okay? So for activity 4, you're going to review your answer from the warm-up and revise it if necessary. So whatever we've learned today, if you can take that into account and change anything that you've put in your warm-up. So for this activity, you're going to revisit a statement from the anticipation guide and decide whether to revise your answer based on what you've learned so far. Okay, so go ahead, you can click on the screen. We are almost done, so sit tight. Go ahead and click on this screen. It's going to take you straight to your homework. All right, so I want you to review your original response to the statement from the anticipation guide. So our statement says, each person in a family has the same traits. There are no differences in traits between parents and offspring or among siblings. Do you agree or disagree, and what evidence supports your ideas about that statement? So go ahead and answer that. You'll have your homework done, and then we'll move on to the family homework. All right, so make sure you're doing this homework right now so you don't have to do it later. Just saying if you agree or disagree, and then any evidence that supports those ideas. All right, if you are still working, keep working. I'm just going to go over the directions for this next activity. But if you're still working, keep working. If you are finished, just make sure you're listening. Okay, so for this family homework, you're going to discuss the homework question with someone that lives in your household to make a list of traits that people in your family have. Okay, and so this will tie into our activity or our project that we're going to do at the end of this unit. Okay, so in Amplify, it says, work with a member of your household to list the traits of the people in your household and other people you know. You may want to work with more than one member, and you might need to explain a little bit about traits and variations in order for the member of your household to be able to work with you. Okay, so whatever we've learned today about traits, about variation, about features, you may need to explain that to them. Okay, so this right here says, if you're in Amplify, you should be able to see this. It says, make a list of the people in your household and their traits. You can also add other people like friends, neighbors, or other family members who do not live with you. Consider traits such as hair color and eye color. So if I'm making this list, I'm going to put myself first. Okay, so I'll put Miss Shanks. I could say blonde hair, blue eyes. I could say my height. I can say my skin tone. Whatever other features. Maybe I have a widow's peak, where my hair goes down a little bit. Maybe I have a certain kind of nose, however you want to describe it. And then after that, I would list some traits that my mom has. So maybe I want to put brown hair, brown eyes. My mom is tall. I could put her height. And then I would go on to my next family member that I would want to add. Okay, so you're going to make a list of the people and make a list of their traits. Okay, so our traits are blue eyes, brown eyes, hazel eyes, green eyes. Okay, blonde hair, brown hair. Those are our traits. Okay, the last thing I want you to do after you complete the family homework is to complete and submit the exit slip for lesson 1.2 on Canvas. And so what I'm going to do now, I didn't have that unlocked because I didn't want you guys to do it before class was over. And so now that exit slip that's here on Canvas under today's module is going to be published. Right? So that is published now. Whenever you finish your homework, you can do that. And that is all that I have for you guys today. Those are the extension links if you guys want to look at a little bit more about genetics. Okay. This Mythbusters video is actually really cool. It's talking about spider silk. Okay. So that is the end of the lesson. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. I'm going to be updating some grades tonight if you didn't do your pre-assessment and you have over the weekend. Okay. If not, I will see you guys on Thursday. You guys have a good rest of your Tuesday.